and welcome to episode 461 of Retro Encounter, RPG fans' bi-weekly podcast of many topics. I am your host today, Zach Wilkerson, and we are here today to talk about a game that I have struggled with, but in a fun way, and I'm learning a lot about how to play it. We are talking about Fallout New Vegas, or the first half. Not even half, really. I don't know how to split this into halves. It's impossible. We're talking about like the opening hours of Fallout New Vegas and our experience with it. And those of you who are worried about spoilers, we're going to kind of stop before we get to the strip. So anything after that, we're not going to really deal with. But before we dig into actually talking about Fallout New Vegas, let's introduce the panel, starting with you, Matt.
Howdy, y'all. It's the man with the big iron on his hip.
That's what I was going to do for my introduction.
Sorry.
I think Mr. New Vegas has some competition.
And Audra.
Howdy.
That's a good one. I like that.
Oh, thank you.
Aleks.
Howdy, I guess.
And Jono.
Hey, all you swinging cats. See, I'm already on the strip, so I'm in that mode now.
Very good. And thank the four of you so much for joining me. We have sort of a variety of knowledge levels here. I feel like we have some people who have played the game like 15 times. And then you have me and Audra who are like, we haven't played this game before. And so it's going to be fun. I am hosting even as a person who has very little experience with it, but I have some takes and I'm excited to chat about it. Fallout New Vegas is an interesting game in a lot of ways, because it is built on the assets of Fallout 3. So Fallout 3 comes out after Bethesda purchases it from Black Isle, I think is the name. And they make the game, and it goes in sort of a very different direction in a lot of ways. It's the same basic setting, but it kind of gets sort of a lot of the role-playing elements of the original Fallout games. And then Fallout 3 is successful enough for Bethesda that like Todd Howard's like, okay, I want sort of an expansion, like another game. And so they contact Obsidian, who already had done really good work on things like KOTOR 2 and things like that. And they're like, okay, you guys are going to, if you want, make Fallout New Vegas. And this is information that I got from Jono before recording, but there was originally a Fallout 3 that was canceled that then Obsidian goes and they take a lot of their assets and a lot of, not assets, but a lot of their storytelling ideas, and they turn it into Fallout 3. It still maintains a lot of the role-playing elements. We'll talk a lot about those from the original Fallout games, but it also puts it in a 3D environment. You've got VATS, you've got things like sort of the real-time action gameplay. And
Chris, what's his last name? Chris Avallone. He was
Mm-hmm.
he was the writer of Fallout 3, or as it's known, Van Buren, and he's also the head writer of New Vegas. So he recycled a lot of the ideas.
Yeah, and I think that it stands really well on its own, but I from what I've read, it seems like it's really in an interesting sort of space in the Fallout, sort of general lore. And Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas becomes, to this day, I think is often cited as if not the greatest Western RPG ever made, certainly one of the greatest. I think most people view it as the best Fallout game. And I think it's just like a really fascinating history of how it's created, and the launch being glitchy because it's still built on Bethesda assets, so it has to be glitchy. So yeah, is there anything I'm missing that's important sort of from the history of Fallout New Vegas, especially from the experts here?
I think the thing that we'll be talking about this, I suspect, but the thing that is probably best known about Fallout New Vegas, certainly when it was released, is even for a Bethesda game, this thing was busted. It was so broken, almost unplayable in some cases when it was first released. And a lot of those bugs persist to this day, unfortunately. And in their defense, yes, Obsidian made it, but they were under such tight time constraints. It's a miracle that they made a game at all,
It's like
let
18
alone
months or something, right? Something crazy like that. Yeah.
To be fair, they already had most of the assets already created, so that obviously saved quite a bit of time. And they had the core gameplay, but then again, they had to figure out how to adapt that. And so it's a miracle that they got the game out at all. And the fact that it was so broken was super disappointing. However, since then, it is now in a playable state. But you're still going to see some bugs, and chances are you're still going to get a couple of crashes.
I don't want to go too far ahead, but there was like a particular quest. Like I was going up the Black Mountain to try to stop whatever that wild woman was who was
Tabitha.
broadcasting at the
Yeah.
try to stop Tabitha, and I was doing it at too low level, so I got to use like all my sneak boys just to kind of walk up there because I really just was tired of hearing it every time I walked through. I could have just changed the station, but I was mad then. But as I'm walking up, like I feel like the game crashed 15 times. So I was like, okay, I need to go a different direction. But yeah, still running into crashes, still like quests. Like if I die after I take a quest, sometimes it'll just like stop existing. It'll act like the quest is still there, but not really. So I have to reload. But yeah, it's still, even with the 163 mods I installed, I'm still getting some bugs.
To be fair to those listening, there are 163 mods that fix the game. They're not 163 mods that like add random crap to it. Because, you know, that's what Bethesda does. They release a game and they're like, all right, fans, you fix it.
Can I ask, like, how is everyone playing this game? Because I originally played it on PC and then later on PS3. And this time around, I'm playing it on the PS Plus streaming for like the PS3 version. And I don't know if it's like incredibly ugly for you guys, but like, I mean, it runs pretty smoothly for me. But what about, how are you guys playing?
I'm running on PC with what's called like a Vanilla Plus mod pack that Jono sent me, and it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. It's smooth. The textures look great. Like, oh, this looks like a modern game. So great job, modding community.
I'm playing on Steam Deck. And it's okay. It's not the best, but
the Steam Deck experience. It's okay. It's not the best.
I'm playing on PC as well. I would only play this game on PC because I am a big fan of modding. You just can't really do that on a console. And even when situations like Fallout 4 where modding is available, it's not really available. Certainly not to the same extent. So yeah, PC.
Yeah, PC also here with some mods. Probably the same mods that you guys are using, just to like fix things up. And yeah, it looks nice. Barely crashed at all for me. So it's been going well, a lot better than my first playthrough, which was on PS3, and that was notoriously even worse than the Xbox 360 version, which already wasn't great. So yeah, having a much smoother time this time around.
It's interesting that you're experiencing so many crashes, Zach, with Viva New Vegas, because I've also not been experiencing very many crashes or bugs.
I outside of that very specific moment, and I think it's because like I'm invisible, but there are also a lot of invisible enemies as you're walking up the Black Mountain. Like I just don't think it quite understood how to load those textures right, and it kept crashing. So I just went a different route, and I got up there and wiped her out.
Yeah, there's 2 areas where there's like the lake lurks in the game, and that I'm trying to avoid those areas now because every time I tried going there, that crashed.
I always found like that the irradiated areas, like where your rads are like ticking up, those always crash the game for me. Like back when,
and Black Mountain is irradiated, so that would make sense.
The Utobatha is entirely irradiated.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly had a good experience with it, and I have like a pretty new PC, and I usually older games sometimes struggle, so I'm impressed with how well it's running based on this reputation. But before we dive into the game, and we're going to be going all over the map on this one because that's the nature of New Vegas, baby. I do want to, for the listeners, kind of give like a very brief history of our, what like sort of we've done with Fallout, how many games we've played, stuff like that, just so they sort of get a sense of where we're coming from. I'll start with me because it's the most obvious, and obviously I have appeared on this show many times, and you're probably aware that I have not played that many Western RPGs. I have now played Mass Effect 1 and 2, and I'm on 3 now, and I've played The Witcher, but not a lot. As I was growing up, I was never a PC gamer. But true story, my very first assignment when I started at RPG Fan, this is October of 2018, and it's like right before Jono gets hired, because Jono gets hired like a week and a half after me. They're like, hey, we're getting this preview beta for Fallout 76. Who owns an Xbox One? And I think I was the only person on staff who did. And I am like 0% qualified to preview Fallout 76. And they're like, oh, Zach, you got one. And I'm like, I'm not going to say no. I just started. And so I'm like, all right, I'll play for 4 hours at this very specific time with a bunch of other people. And I was playing it and I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing at all. This game is weird and hard. And like, there's nothing here. Like I can't find anything, which turns out that's just like the 76 experience, at least at launch. But it didn't crash on me, at least, which was, I know, Jono's experience. But that was it for me. I had never played any Fallout, but obviously New Vegas was a game that I've heard about after I played Disco Elysium with Aleks a couple of years ago. And he was like, you gotta try out New Vegas. Like if you love this game, you're going to love New Vegas. And Well, I have some thoughts on that particular recommendation that I'll get to. I'm glad that I spun it up. I've been playing it now for about 25 hours, and I haven't even gotten to the strip yet because I just keep wandering around and dying a lot. So that's my history with the series. But Jono, I know your history is very different. So why don't you go next?
It's very different, but with one big similarity, which I will get to in a second. So my history with the series started many, many, many years ago when I started up Fallout 3, and I bounced off it hard. And then a few years later, I tried it again, and I bounced off it really hard. And then I was in Scotland getting my master's, and it was Christmas, and I was bored because it was like Christmas break was like almost 4 weeks. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to try it again. And I downloaded Fallout 3 and I loved it. I adored it. And then as soon as I finished it, I was like, I want to play more Fallout 3. Let's do some research. And I discovered that Fallout New Vegas existed. And I was very excited. And I played Fallout New Vegas and I enjoyed it even more than I did Fallout 3. And since then, I've been a massive fan of the series. Obviously, Fallout 4 came out, huge fan of that. And then I joined RPG Fan, and my first real assignment was, again, Fallout 76. And boy, was I ever excited. As a fan of Fallout, was I ever excited. And much like you, Zach, that hope was crumbled into just the dust of the desert in the Mojave. And apparently, well, not apparently, I played it since. I played it a few years ago, and it's much, much, much better now and feels much more like an actual Fallout game. But yeah, I'm still not really playing it. So yeah, and last year we did a big feature for Fallout because the Fallout TV show released. So we released retro reviews of 1, 2, and 3, and we recorded a podcast for Retro. I think it was Retro 412, where Jimmy and I just talked about the series and our enjoyment of it, but we did not talk about New Vegas. So yeah, if you finish listening to this and you're like, I want more Fallout, yeah, give that a listen.
Absolutely. And I feel like from our conversations, I feel like you've beaten this game like 10 times, Jono. Is that accurate?
Maybe not 10 times, 4 or 5. The thing about Fallout games that brings me back to them is not the storyline. Like, I am not the kind of person who plays games over and over and over again. Once I finish a game, unless it's like something special. I played Chrono Trigger a few times, but unless it's something really special, I generally put it down and enjoyed it, and that's it. The trick with Fallout games is they're so damn moddable, and new content is added to it so often by the fans that I can dive back into Fallout games, installing brand new mods, and get a fairly new experience each time, which is Bethesda's ace in the hole when it comes to these games, frankly. And it's one of the reasons why they are so consistently popular, is because fan content has gotten so good that in some cases it's almost indistinguishable from the actual content of the game. There's a few mods I've installed this time where I am genuinely like, is this a mod or is this like vanilla? I can't remember. It's so well done. So yeah, that's why I have played this so many times. And yeah, if you're playing it, you might as well just get to the dam.
Yeah, makes sense. What about you, Aleks?
Yeah, so like Jono, I was first exposed to the Fallout series through Fallout 3. And so leading up to New Vegas, I had already played a couple of Western RPGs. Like you, Zach, I didn't really grow up playing Western RPGs. I was mostly a console JRPG boy. But I did start getting exposed to them around like the PS3 360 era, because that was probably the darkest time for JRPGs, honestly. So I was branching out a little bit. And at that point, I'd already played Fallout 3, Oblivion, and KOTOR, which I liked them all, but I couldn't help but feel a little bit of disappointment in probably all 3 of those games, because like the main philosophical promise of Western RPGs, as I understood it, as like fans would like discuss, was that you get to role play a character of your own creation. And so that's kind of like coming from the tradition of like tabletop games. But with those games, I ultimately just ended up playing like kind of like a Boy Scout character, just saying yes, doing the good options for every single quest line. And that's partly a me problem, I guess, but these games didn't really offer really interesting alternatives other than just being purely evil in a pretty uninteresting way. But I did become interested in New Vegas after hearing that like its sense of morality is more gray and like dialogue choices more nuanced than just being like good, good but give me money, or pure evil, as kind of those other 3 games I'd played up to that point kind of followed. And man, New Vegas really hit. It became one of my favorite RPGs for sure. Obsidian has since become one of my favorite developers. I went back to play like KOTOR 2, Alpha Protocol, and Planescape Torment, which is kind of like a proto Obsidian game, if you will. And I love all of those games despite their flaws, but it was New Vegas that really first opened my eyes to what Western RPGs could be, the ways they could be written, the ways that you could role play your characters in a way that kind of felt your own. And to this day, I kind of like regard New Vegas as like the quintessential Western RPG, and the one I would usually recommend to anyone unfamiliar with but curious about the genre. And so that's what I did to you, Zach, and I'm very curious to hear how it's been going for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am happy to talk about it, and I think that you hit on a lot of things that I want to chat about. But Matt, I believe that you're also an experienced Fallout player.
If I do say so myself. No, yeah, so let me paint the scene here. So it's 2008, small Canadian farm town. A 13-year-old Matt is perusing
Is there anything
Blockbuster.
except a small Canadian farm town? Do they have other kinds of towns in Canada?
Toronto, French Toronto.
Boo.
Toronto, French Toronto. Both have lots of barns, though, really. You know, that's how you get into the CN Tower. There's just a big barn in front of it, and you go inside.
It's just 4 barns stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, the CN Tower is really like Tenpenny Tower from Fallout 3. It's just a big place in the middle of nowhere.
And I'm a regular old penny. But yeah, like I was in Blockbuster, and I see like a cardboard cutout of a guy from like the Brotherhood of Steel with like the power armor, and a boy became a man. I'm like, what is this kind of thing? And I had previously played Oblivion like the year before. It had really blown up like with people my age. But when I started playing Fallout, it was so much more bleak, and I think for a teenage boy, it was just like more enticing how like evil it was at times. So like I'm a pretty well-adjusted person, but like I usually play like the squeaky clean protagonist, like Aleks was saying. But in 3, it's like, whoa, when I kill an enemy, like I can take out a knife and like, you can like the limb severage and things like that. I can like plop someone's head onto like a countertop and just, there was so much freedom of experimentation, and like it's the only game still to this day that I play evil most of the time, and I like enjoy doing bad things. So 3 was great, I thought, but it was super buggy. I played it on PS3 like I played most Bethesda games. So I pretty much only put down Bethesda games at the time because they became unplayable. Once the save file goes on long enough, it just becomes more and more unwieldy for like the engine. So when Fallout New Vegas came out, I was like, okay, I'm a teenager now. I've got some disposable income. I saved up and bought an Alienware laptop, for the express purpose.
Oh man, that was everything back then.
The shiny LED lights and all that. Yeah, and I was so pumped to play New Vegas, and with whatever specific graphics card I had at the time, it was just completely incompatible. Like there was a bug for like the first month of launch, or 2 months maybe. And every day I'm like reading online, like, are they going to fix it? Are they going to fix it? So I played through the entire game, like picture like PS1 graphics Fallout, which I know that's not far from like the real Fallout graphics, but like the draw distance was like Silent Hill level, like it was terrible looking. But I played through the entire game like probably once or twice, and then it came out on PS3, and I'm like, PC, like you hurt me bad, PC. So I played it through on PS3 a few times beyond that. But like Aleks was saying, like the karma system is like much more, well, it's kind of useless in New Vegas actually, but like the morality is much more nuanced, and like the faction system, right? I can be evil for some people, I can murder, I can steal, but like that's not going to anger the entire world against me. So I really did latch on to New Vegas just for like the even more freedom that it gave.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it, because there are definitely some factions that freaking hate me, but like they shot me first, man. So like, don't shoot me, I'll shoot back. Anyway, Audra, I believe you're closer to my story, although I think you have more experience with Western RPGs in general than I do. What's your experience with Fallout?
Pretty much the same as yours. I have never played the games before, but I have a lot of friends who love New Vegas and who recommended it wholeheartedly, so I finally was like, I'm gonna give it a try. And I'm quite glad I listened to them. It's a fun game.
Yeah, it is a fun game. It's a fun game in that, like, I'm just like all over the place. Like, I could describe the opening, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I am just like, I see something over there in the distance, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go do that. Oh, I guess I'm gonna go do that.
That's how you should play the game.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why Fallout 4 is so controversial and why so many people hate it. Is because it gave you this. You have to save your son. You need to save your son, and that kind of interfered with the way that people like to play Fallout games, which is, ooh, what's that?
Compared to like the Elder Scrolls games, like the Elder Scrolls, you only need one character and you can do everything because there's not really much of like choice or morality for most quest lines, right? But Fallout, like your build and your character type really does matter. So it's like, yeah, it does warrant like multiple playthroughs, especially New Vegas, right? Just to play a different character, play a different faction. So I feel like it's a shorter experience than like Oblivion or Skyrim, but yeah, it's still so meaty, and I think like it's like more of a, what do they call, like an inch wide, a mile deep. Like it's a little more of that design philosophy, but that inch alone is pretty big too. So
yeah, definitely once you start like replaying it, and I really haven't replayed this game really much at all. This is only my second playthrough. But even just from that and my memory of my first playthrough, like there's definitely like some like shortcuts to progression you can do, like a bunch of like different ways you can like receive quests to like discover a certain location, and all those things just make this game like so replayable. And just like, even if you're not like going for a completionist run, I think that's not what this game is really encouraging. It wants you to role play a character, to live with your choices, and to see some new content maybe once you make a different kind of character, right? And I think that's a really great design philosophy.
Oh yeah, I really love the approach that they took to it, especially from just a role playing stance in general. And oh my gosh, I got the Explorer perk, and I'm just really can't wait to just try going to all these different areas I apparently somehow did not uncover.
Can I ask, Audra, just because it's my first time meeting you and like I'm a big fan, but you seem so sweet in real life. Do you play the bad character ever? Like, do you murder? Do you steal?
Oh yeah, Audra's totally Legion. That's Audra to a T. When I think Audra, I think the Legion.
I'm totally vilified by the Legion at the moment, which makes sense. I murder them indiscriminately, and Boone murders them indiscriminately. But I'm pretty much kind of like a good Samaritan, I guess. But then I cut people's heads off for bounties and stuff. So
damn.
Yeah.
To be fair, they're fiends, so
yes.
But
indiscriminately.
But they're drug addicts. Am I supposed to kill them? I don't know. We'll get into it. Go ahead, Alex.
I was just gonna say, indiscriminately murdering the Legion is the only way you can play like just a morally good character in this game.
You actually gain morality if you kill feral ghouls too. Like you gain a lot of karma. Like you gain 100 karma points, which the max is 1,000. But
they're like some random like gangsters, just like, I don't know, like gang members. It's like around, like I don't even know what they're affiliated with. I can't remember what the name of
the
them
Viper
is.
Gang, right?
The Viper Gang, and like they attack me every time I see them, and then like I kill them. I'm like, I don't know why I'm killing you, and then like you gain karma. I'm like, well, why? Like,
you're making them a hobby better.
Murder is good, right? That's what I learned as a kid.
I guess it's the thing that one of the things I love about this game, and like killing vipers, killing powder gangers, like I guess killing feral ghouls as well. This game, as you could see from the intro, has a real Wild West movie feel going through it. Like morality is very much, it's the Wild West. You're a gunslinger and there are bad guys afoot, and if you kill them, you are improving the land. Like it's there is no legal system here. It's kill or be killed, and because of that, I think that when you kill the bad guys, you are seen as a moral person.
I tend to role play as like the sheriff of the wasteland, where it's like treat me right and I treat you right, but it's like if you look at me the wrong way or like try to upcharge me or like upsell me on something, I will kill you and eat your corpse. So it's like
which is a perk.
Sure. Yep.
It sort of sounds like the sheriff in Prim, who no matter how hard I tried, like I would go in there, I snuck by all those guys. I'm like, all right, hey dude, I'm gonna let you out. Like you gotta. And then I'm like, you should follow me. And he's like, no, I don't want to follow you. I'm like, come on, dude, follow me. And so like I my speech was high enough that I could say like, okay, you are going to follow me. And then he would get murdered in like 15 seconds. And so then eventually I was like, okay, I'm just going to let you go because you can sneak out of this casino, wherever it is, just fine. And then you get outside and you still get murdered. I'm like, dude, I give up on you. You are a useless sheriff. Goodbye. I'm going to go have my robot sheriff now. He does a much better job than you.
Who are the options? There is in Prim. There's the God, what's the character's name?
I just call him Robot Sheriff.
Yeah,
Victor.
Robot Sheriff. Let's go with that. There's Robot Sheriff. There's Beagle, who you save in the hotel and who kind of sucks. There is the former powder ganger who is like hardcore vigilante, basically the Punisher if he was the sheriff.
And the NPR, you can NPR, NCR,
yeah,
NPR. Yeah, the deputy guy that you're talking about, he actually, while he was tied up, I was like, all right, like I'll just leave you here then. Like if you're not going to play along, right? So he actually followed out with me and like made it out safely. But then I was like, you're a loser, get out of here. Because I'm like, okay, you're the deputy. Do you want to be the sheriff? And he's like, oh, I'm just the deputy. So I ended up having the NCR take over in Prim, but.
Yeah, I had the robot, and then he guilt tripped me for having a robot take over. So I was like, well, you didn't want it either.
Make up your mind, dude. I went with Myers because he's a interesting, fun character, I find.
Yeah, I met him afterwards, so I was like, oh, darn.
Oh, you would have been a way better choice.
Yeah.
I thought you guys meant like Victor, but you meant like the little like robot in the casino that's like yeehaw. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know he could be the sheriff. Wow.
Hey, he's fantastic. Like he cleans up those powder gangers like nobody's business. Like you go back to Prim and like they're all dead. Like good job. Good job, Robot Sheriff.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's like I think that we can kind of talk about the quests here. Like I think that it's fascinating because like I don't think that any of us have really even like grazed over the main story here because there isn't much of one. It's like the opening cutscene is really compelling, right? It's like you're a courier, you're supposed to deliver this platinum chip, and then like you get like basically shot in the dome immediately, and then like I don't know, Saul from Battlestar Galactica revives you, which he's my favorite voice actor so far. He's also in Mass Effect, is like a very young guy. It's very distracting in Mass Effect. Anyway, so he gets you up and it's like, oh, now you just like go get revenge. And well, like, I don't know. And like, so I'm around Good Spring and then like this powder ganger shows up and he's like, I want that guy. And I'm like, you can't have that guy. These guys don't like you. So I kill him when they try to invade. And then like, oh, the powder gangers all hate me now. And then every time I try to walk out of that initial town, the powder gangers are shooting at me. So when I get down to the NCR and they're like, hey, you want to go take out that prison? I'm like, yeah, I do. Screw those guys. But the thing is, like, as you play the game longer, I realize like if I actually went to go talk to the powder gangers, and I'm sure like they're imprisoned, right? Like they have a good reason to want to work back against the NCR, which has its own problems. I know if I talk to them, I would be like, okay, these people have their reasons, right? I'm sure Legion doesn't have their reasons, but the powder gangers do, right? But I was like, screw you guys. Like, stop shooting at me. Like, they tried to pull me into a trap at some point around there. I was like, what is wrong with you? No, goodbye, deleted. And I felt no guilt about it at all. And I'm usually trying to play kind of a good character here, but like, the reality is like in the early going, like I put all my stats because at the very beginning, those of you who haven't played it in a while, remember that you can put like you can sort of choose where your stat allocations are going to be. And I'm like, oh, this is a Western RPG. I'm going to put all my stuff in speech because I'm just going to talk my way out of everything. And then like I had no points in guns and no points in survival. I just kept dying. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I need some points in guns, and you guys can die because when my head gets shot off 15 times in a row, then I'm just mad. And it's just fascinating, like the way that the game almost made me role play in a way that I wasn't intending.
That's a really interesting point, and yeah, just to add to that, because like putting everything in speech, and like I assume maybe even like for your special stats putting things in charisma, that was like definitely a type of play style for the like all three of the older Fallout games. That's if you just want to try to talk yourself out of as many situations as possible, like that's a good way to do it. But I really, really appreciate how Fallout New Vegas makes it so that skills other than speech can also give you dialogue options for resolving quests in different ways. And just while we're still talking about Good Springs, like before I thought Good Springs and that first quest line was kind of basic, but now I just see it as such a great tutorial for showing you how this game in particular works and how it differs from like even previous Fallout games. Because like while you're preparing for like if you are deciding to defend Good Springs, you're kind of given these options of like rallying other people from the town to help, and there's skill checks in like barter and in explosives, and I think in like one or two other skills that you have to pass if you want to like get those people on board with like contributing like bombs to the help with the defense, or to have like the store clerk offer like just guns for free in order to have like be better equipped. But you're because like you can't put skills in everything, like you're bound to have like not put uh like you're bound to like fail some of these skill checks. So it's just the game like showing you how like you don't need to just be like speech. Like there are other ways that your skills can factor into um the way you converse with people and the way you're able to like resolve things. And then on top of that, just having like these two immediate factions, like the pretty peaceful town of Good Springs versus the Powder Gangers, like it forces you to side with somebody, and who you side with will have consequences in terms of like your progression going from there. I mean, we already talked a little bit about Prim, and you can choose between hiring like a convict or an NCR sheriff. And based on what you did in that first quest, like that's kind of like going to snowball you into a certain way of progression and like certain allegiances. So yeah, that this opening bit is it's doing more than it even seems in terms of like introducing you to the way this game works, and I think it's so well done.
Not to mention that the guy that you save, the guy that the Powder Gangers is after, he's part of the caravan company that they show up in New Vegas proper.
Mhm.
But actually, like not to jump ahead because we'll talk about it next episode. But like in New Vegas, you do get kind of a soft reset where everybody kind of pardons you for your crimes against their faction. So it's like, man, if I locked myself, like let's say against the Legion, like if I murder them when I first meet them, I'm pardoned by Caesar or Kaiser as they call him. But um, yeah, I love too, Aleks, how like instead of like if I've played this game many times, I can just go over to my open grave where Benny buried me, and you can see New Vegas in the distance, like right from that hilltop. And it's like I'm just gonna walk that way, and like sure there might be death claws in the way, but it's like if you can really manage it, you can like sneak your way through. Like yeah, there is like a very compelling story, I think, in terms of like Bethesda or like let's say Fallout and storytelling, but you don't have to follow that at all, right? But I do think the story is definitely worth experiencing, and like yeah, Good Springs is a great tutorial area.
I can take Death Claws. I can't take Cazadors. I hate Cazadors more than anything. They're so bad.
Those are the big bugs, right?
Yeah.
That
Oh my
poison
god,
you and yeah.
Yeah, they're the
they
worst.
seem like they're gonna be no problem the first time you encounter them, and you're like, why is this like two-shotting me? What's going on?
From a visual standpoint, every time I see a centaur, I'm like, ugh, it's disgusting. Like I just want to, like the fleshy thing, which I think they come from Fallout 1 or 2. But
Yeah.
what kind of build did you guys go with? Because this time, yeah, I went full charisma, and then I went unarmed, which I've never done before.
Ooh.
So I find myself like I'm talking to people, and if the talking ever fails, I'm right in their face already, and I can just punch their head off. But how about for you guys? How are you playing?
I almost always go stealth, whether or not it's stealth sniper or stealth melee is whatever I feel like at the time. I don't know why. I've just never really enjoyed going straight into a situation with like a minigun, for example. It's just not really my style as a someone who plays video games. So I usually go stealth.
I have thoughts about why that's true in this game, at least, because I don't like the VAT system at all. I think that I sort of like it conceptually, but it slows things down so much. And I'm like, I know that the right move for me is to pull up the vat and shoot this dude's right leg or shoot his arm or try to knock that gun out of it. But like, it just slows things down so much. And especially in the early going when my guns were so low, it'd be like, you have a 15% chance of hitting this guy in the chest point blank, and he will do 1 HP of damage.
Yeah.
And so I got frustrated by that very early on. And I to me, like, at least in New Vegas, like the VAT system just seems like a way of me like sort of trying to guarantee that I'm getting hit. Like, I know that it's supposed to like be giving you sort of a turn-based feeling to a game that would be more of an active shooter, but I don't know. I don't love the VAT system. And so I think that I would really very much prefer to do what you, Matt and Jono were talking about.
Although, speaking as like the only one here playing on a controller, I assume. I guess Audra, you are too. Like on the Steam
I'm on a
Deck.
controller.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you are.
I'm on the controller.
When you
Am I the
aim
only
down
one
the
playing with mouse and keyboard?
Oh, I'm playing mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Because like when you aim down the sights, it doesn't slow down like the aiming at all. So it's like, what's the point? So I find like it's hard for me to aim now. So I use VATS for that to kind of like center my character, and then I can get like 1 or 2 shots off in the head, and then I just walk back and shoot them or punch them if I have to.
VATS is very useful for strategic gameplay. So, for example, because of the you can cripple arms, legs, head, you can to debuff the opponent. So I find that if I'm not playing as a sniper, in which case I just always go for the head, you can slow a character down tremendously by like crippling one of his legs, or you can stop him from using his gun by crippling one of his arms, or you can target his weapon and send it flying out of his hand, and then he has to attack you with melee.
Yeah, I do think VATS is especially more important if you're doing like a hardcore run, which I don't believe any of us are. It's something that I really, really hope to do one day. But yeah, having those kind of like strategic choices, like just like crippling a guy's leg so you can like run away from them if you're not like well equipped to handle like the entire fight, or doing the same to like their gun arm. That seems really compelling, but I do think VATS overall is nerfed from what I remember it being in Fallout 3. But with that said, I am kind of trying to do more of a VATS like build. I'm choosing like perks that increase like my VATS percentages with like a one-handed pistol, because I'm kind of just doing like kind of a gunslinger type build this time around. And that's been really fun. And once you get like a couple perks that enhance your VATS, it's definitely a little bit more fun and viable. And I also just like VATS. I think like the slowdown and like the dramatic cinematic effects and the exploding limbs and all that is a good bit of fun. So that's what I'm going for.
I agree with you up to a point, but I have to admit, eventually the kill cam drives me crazy.
I turned it off recently. I'm like I get it. His head's flying that direction. Cool. I just want to get on with things.
It's just too much.
Did anybody take the Mysterious Stranger perk at level 10?
Oh, I love Mysterious Stranger.
Amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it only comes up in VATS, right? Like, and I like when I first played the game, like it saved me so many times where I'm like, I'm gonna lose this fight, and then like, wow, he comes out and just blows them away with his like magnum. But I do like how the perks in this game are all amazing. Like a lot of RPGs, it's like, well, clearly I don't need that. I don't need that. This one, like every 2 levels, I'm like, what? Like, oh god, I really want this, but it's a tough call.
Terrifying Presence is a total game changer.
Terrifying Presence is hilarious.
Yeah, it's broken. Like it just like wipes everybody out usually immediately.
It's also hilariously over the top when your character is just like, you're in a conversation with someone, your character is random, is like, I'm going to wear your head as a hat.
Audra, what build are you going for?
Mostly a gunslinger one with speech and science and medicine. So it's an interesting. She's like a wandering doctor.
Yeah, science and medicine are both super useful for like those like additional dialogue skill checks.
Yeah,
So you're gonna have a lot of ways of resolving
almost as often as speech does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hacking too, like the computer things, which I never played until like recently. I did like it's a lot like Wardell now that I play it, the
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, I never knew that before. But
yeah, I mean, I recently, my very high science skill, which I've been pouring a lot into, helped me reprogram a sex bot for...
Oh, Fisto!
Fisto,
oh, yeah.
Which is the very last thing I did before recording. I was like, there's a sex bot. I must go get Sexbot. And then I, experience Sexbot as well. It's very respectful. And
Do you guys sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, do you guys
ahead,
have a favorite NPC? Because like you, Zach, you said you didn't really write down that many notes because it's so open. My notebook is like almost empty, but I'm looking at it. The one thing I wrote down was Chris Haversum. I wanted to talk about. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? The guy that thinks that he's a ghoul.
Yeah.
In,
Come
Fly With Me.
Come Fly With Me.
I managed to convince him that he wasn't one, so he didn't stay to go die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same.
He was convinced he was a ghoul because he was balding, and he thought, like, how can I be balding? Like that's the only reason he thought so. But I love that character so much.
Sorry, can I jump back for just 1 second just to add some context? Fisto, I gotten him before, but I forgot about him. And it's the first time I actually got the joke. I was drinking a cup of tea and I actually did a spit take when he was like fully integrated security technotronic officer. I'm going to call you Fisto. And I lost it. It's very, very funny to me.
Yeah, and I think like one of the most interesting things about this game to me is that I'm playing it sort of as like a good cop, like sort of similar to a number of you, where it's like I want to do the right thing. Like there was a conflict between NCR and the Kings, which are one of my favorite groups in this game, where it's just this group of dudes who like found a Vegas or like an Elvis museum in Vegas, and like, let's watch some videos and let's emulate that guy because everyone worshipped that dude. So there's a conflict between the Kings and NCR, and so I resolve it because I'm like, NCR sucks, but like, I don't know, they're better than these other guys, sort of, at least, kind of.
It actually kind of reflects how you feel about America, really.
Yeah. It's actually maybe more positive than I feel about America. But anyway, it's really interesting. But like every time I look at like the negative dialogue options, I'm like, that's really funny. And like one of the things that, and this is not a criticism, but like one of the things that I thought would happen a little more often as I was playing this is that like ridiculous things would happen. And I think that they're around, but it's not as in your face. Like I think about, I hate to bring up Disco Elysium again, but I'm going to. Like Disco Elysium like made me laugh every 15 seconds. And this game does not make me laugh every 15 seconds. And it's partially because like I'm afraid of getting locked out of content by saying the ridiculous thing. Whereas in like Disco Elysium, like if I said the ridiculous thing, sometimes I would get like this wild fun thing that wouldn't lock me out of anything. That's not a criticism, it's just like sort of an observation based on the fact that the game is 15 years old.
A lot of people took umbrage with my recent Oblivion review where I put cheesy writing as a con, but I'm like, I think still like the level of writing in New Vegas, like it is funny at times, but like it's just well written, and like the voice acting is like way above anything Elder Scrolls. And I think a lot of that is due to Josh Sawyer, the director and the writer of this game. He designed like Icewind Dale and Alpha Protocol, a few things before. But this was his first game that he directed, and then he went on to do Pillars of Eternity and The Pentiment, which Pentiment is like one of the finest showcases of writing in any game, like right next to
good.
Disco Elysium. Yeah. So his quality is like, his stamp of quality is on this game all over the place.
I understand that you haven't met all of them yet, but I'm curious, have you met any companions yet? And if so, who are you currently traveling with?
Cass. I love Cass.
Yeah, Cass is great.
She's fantastic. Like she was the first companion that I met because you meet her at the Mojave Outpost, I think, in the Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know how to recruit her. And so eventually, because like the Crimson Caravan is like in an area that I've been told is dangerous, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait. Then I go and I get Boone, and the resolution of the Boone thing was really cool. Like I love this. Gets to one of the things that I really like about this game is that like I had to really dig. It took me like probably 45 minutes to find out who actually murdered or, set up Boone's wife and child, even more depressingly, to get taken by Legion. But eventually I found it and I was like, that was surprising. But I still had a choice at that point. Cause like, I'm thinking like, okay, is this woman like someone I'm going to need in a future quest? What was the reason for it? These people over here feel like they're not important. I could just like lead them over and let Boone like, shoot their head off. So it was really interesting. I got Edie pretty late. And I also have Miranda, is that her name? But I haven't done much with her yet because then I got Cass immediately. And then like the end of one of the quests in the very last section I was in, like, wanted me to murder Cass. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I love Cass. So like then I just mowed all those people down. It's just like again, like I know I was a little critical of some of the stuff here, but like this, like the level of choice and consequence here. I know it's like a phrase that is thrown around by Western RPG developers all the time. This game gets it.
I tend to personally, I like traveling with a dog. You've met Rex, right? Has anyone met Rex
Oh,
yet?
yeah.
I have not met Rex.
I have not yet.
Oh, you met the Kings, right? You got to meet the King, and he has his robot dog Rex.
Oh my gosh, I didn't
With, like, his
realize
brain
that thing was.
exposed.
I need to go
Oh,
into
yeah.
the Elvis Museum still.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen the dog, but I didn't realize I could interact with it.
Oh,
I
Yeah,
you
there's a-
just get to know the king a little better, and you'll
we're
get
good
a close-
pals. We're tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. He owes me a favor.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
you-
Save that.
yeah.
Okay.
Rex, Edie is great, or Eddie is. I love him. Felicia Day's a great companion. I know it's Veronica, but it's Felicia Day, which is
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, this was made in 2010.
Yeah. Raoul too. He's really funny.
Raoul's hilarious. I genuinely think Boone is one of the funniest characters in the game, just because he's so friggin' dramatic about everything for good reason, but also he's just like so intense all the time.
Yeah, I'm running with Rex and Raoul right now, but it's a little bit annoying going to the king on the 3rd floor of the School of Impersonation each time. But like once you get Rex, like you never have to go see the king anymore. But yeah, I just love the fact like the Kings are my favorite faction. Just I love that they're half of them are doing like a bad Elvis impression the whole time. He's like, "Oh, mama, you want to take care of Rex?" Like, I just think it's a really like perfect vibe. Like that's the goofiness that I like. But
So your point didn't land, because that was actually a pretty good Elvis impression.
thank you a bunch.
Okay, that was terrible.
Hey, we can't all be winners.
It's 1 for 2, yeah.
Thank you kindly.
I'm rolling with Veronica and Eddie. Veronica, I think is such a good character.
Yeah, she is.
Like just being like somebody who is part of the Brotherhood of Steel, but also like frustrated with like I guess how seriously they take themselves, and how like rooted and secluded they are with their like traditions. And like just being like a character who wants to kind of help them survive by revitalizing their kind of philosophy and how they situate themselves in the world is awesome. She's also just really funny, and like in combat, like just power fisting people and exploding them like by punching them is always hilarious.
Excuse me.
Yeah, she is. Oh yeah. But
Fisto.
yeah, she and Fisto would get along pretty well, I think. But yeah, that's my crew.
I don't think he's her type.
Does anybody have the super mutant companion? I forget their name, but
Lily.
Lily. That's right.
Oh, there's a super mutant companion? That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, you'll meet them once you get up to Jacobstown, a super mutant community up north.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
neat.
Yeah,
I
that's not a
just-
spoiler. They're mentioned occasionally.
Cool.
I just met the followers of the Apocalypse party member, I think, companion. But I didn't put him on the
Arcade.
team yet. Yeah, Arcade. Because I haven't put him or Veronica or Cass on the party yet, just because I'm having fun traveling with Boone and Edie. Eddie. Sorry.
Eddie's great.
Eddie, yeah.
One of the things that I think we should mention is just considering that, not actually, you want to know what? Not even considering this game came out in 2010, the amount of LGBTQ content in this game is mind blowing for the period it came out. Like 2 of your companions are gay, and not just like not for shock reasons. It just happens to be that they're gay. There are gay characters just strewn throughout the wastelands, and it's played as completely normal, like not even remotely weird to anyone. And
Yeah, I tried to hit on someone, and she was like, "You're not tall or blonde or a woman, so goodbye." Like,
Yep.
dang it.
Oh, that was the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she hit on me the second I talked to her, I think. Yep.
Damn, Audra's got game.
Yeah.
I love that you can actually pick perks that allow you to be like Lady Killer or Confirmed Bachelor. Being a perk is hilarious.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is just like right from level 1 you can pick your sexual orientation if you want in a perk, which is great considering Fallout 3, I believe, only allowed you to have like that kind of perk for the opposite sex. So good job, Obsidian. Another way of one-upping Bethesda.
I was talking to Amanda about this, and she made a point that I never really considered. I was talking about like the various perks, and I said, "Oh, and you can also choose like Confirmed Bachelor." And she's like, "Oh, what does that do?" And I was like, "It makes you gay." And she's like, "Oh, that's hilarious." And I was like, "It also gives you like dialogue options, but it's actually a super powerful perk because it gives you 10% plus damage on opponents of the same sex, and most of the characters in the game are men, so it like really juices you up." And she's like, "So what it does is like." For all of the dude bros in the game who are like totally anti-gay, if they want to get one of the most powerful perks, they have to make their character gay. And I was like, that's really funny. I didn't even think of that, Amanda.
Oh, that's true.
And you can use both of those, like you can take both of them and you can get out of so many situations with that. Like there'll be a huge like skill check for speech, but it's like, hey hot stuff, how you doing? And they immediately fork over whatever you're trying to get from them. Like it is a really valuable skill.
Yeah, the clerk at the Mojave Outpost giving you like cheap repairs because you hit on him is great.
If only that worked in real life, you know, every time I hit on someone, they get angry.
There's so much in this game that I honestly feel, and I don't want to pull politics into it from today, but if this game was released today, like so many people would be angry, just furious about how woke it is. And
oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no, it's not woke. It's just a really good game that gives you a lot of role-playing options across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like, and we've kind of touched on this, but like, I think that the different factions, you know, are really interesting in terms of thinking about like the good and the bad. I mean, I think Legion, I have no interest in them, so I have no idea if they have reasons for doing what they're doing. So screw those guys anyway.
They do terrible, terrible reasons.
I mean, I'm sure, but like the NCR, you know, on its face is good, but like then the NCR wants me to go to like assassinate people. They want me to divert power to the Strip instead of giving power to the people who actually probably need it. And then you have it's the Brotherhood, right? Like the group that no, it's the Brotherhood. There's a group that seems to actually be like kind of nice, but every time I try to help them,
followers.
it doesn't.
Followers,
Yeah, the followers. Every time I try to help them, it doesn't do anything. Like I diverted power to everyone, like the followers want to be to, and now there are all these brownouts, like where like the power is not working. So like the purely optimistic kindness is not necessarily rewarded here. I talked about the powder gangers earlier. Like I don't know much about them because I wiped them out because they kept shooting at me. And so I think that like the way this game deals with moral ambiguity, like I feel like very rarely is there a time when like I see a choice and I'm like, this is absolutely the quote unquote correct choice. Because even if I'm helping Cass get revenge, like, well, what are the consequences of that for Cass? I'm not going to kill those people, but do they deserve to die? That they wiped out her whole caravan? Like, I don't know. It's very ambiguous all the time, and I super dig that.
Well, one thing I didn't like about Fallout 3 was that the karma system, like you could be a bad guy the whole game, but then if you choose to save the town of Megaton, you just immediately become like maxed out karma pretty well, and vice versa. You could be a saint, and then if you choose to blow up Megaton, like you're a bad guy forever. But this game, like last time I played it, like way back when, I actually managed to be liked by almost every single faction if you play your cards right and if you're sneaky. Like, so for example, this time, if you go to the far east of the map, you get stopped by an NCR ranger and he says, hey, they're holding NCR guys down there on crucifixes. I want to kill them and end their suffering. But the Legion are not going to like that. So
I refused that and just went and wiped out the Legion. But go ahead.
I want to wipe out the Legion, but I'm also kind of curious, like what, you know, how I can stab them in the back later when I get closer to them. So I snuck in, or I really walked in because they didn't hate me at that time. And I put C4 under the feet of every single Legion member there and just like hit around a corner and blew them all up. And then like I lost nothing from the Legion, like because no one saw me do a bad thing. And then I freed the NCR troops and like I didn't have to kill any. Well, I didn't have to kill any of the NCR. I didn't have to kill. You know, I didn't lose anything really. But it's possible.
I genuinely considered, because I played this game many times, and I genuinely considered for the first time playing as a bad character. I hate playing as a bad character, but I was like, you know what? Basically, half of this game I've never played, because if you play as the Legion, you get a whole completely different series of quests from the middle of the game onward. And I was thinking, you know what? I think I'm going to do that. And then I got to Nipton, and I was immediately like, nope, these guys can't do it. Nope, I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it.
I won
Vulpus
the
Inculta is such a
lottery.
dick.
Yeah, he's impossible not to want. But if you kill him, it immediately goes like blah 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 quest failed. Like a quest later in the game fails when you kill him if you meet him there. But
he's a hilarious one for terrifying presence too.
Yeah, because he shows up in a suit later too, like on the strip. He'll show up and like pardon you.
Yeah, that's terrible, terrible undercover work.
Yeah, and I know just in terms of like the game acknowledging like the choices you make, even like who you choose to kill. If you do kill that first Legion commander you meet, Vulpus Jerkwad.
Inculta. Yeah, it's a better name.
Somebody else approaches you and like, oh, even though like you killed Vulpus, like we're willing to still work with you. So that's just like a nice little touch thrown in there. But also, yeah, I tried to do the exact same thing as you, Jono, in my first playthrough, where I'm just like, I'm sick of being like the Boy Scout in Fallout 3 and Oblivion and KOTOR. Like, I'm gonna side with the bad guys and like see what happens. And then like I did a couple of quests for the Legion. I'm just like, I'm turning on these guys. Like, this is this is nonsense. They must die. So yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get around to a Legion playthrough. I'm curious about that content, but I don't know if I'm curious enough. But also circling back to you raising Megaton from Fallout 3, Matt, I think that's a good example to contrast with this game, its factions, in terms of like how to make morally bad decisions interesting, because there's nothing interesting about blowing up Megaton.
No.
But there are interesting things about siding with the NCR and then seeing like their bureaucratic nonsense getting in the way of like good things, or like seeing the corruption inherent to them. There's interesting aspects to siding with the Legion and then seeing just how screwed up they are. So like whoever you're choosing to side with, even if only like temporarily to see what's up, like you're learning more about the world. And just like even like the smallest quests to do for like a faction have some kind of like stakes in terms of like showing you how the morality of this world works, and how like just the systems of like these different factions that they're trying to build in are affecting different groups. So like it just makes like every single quest in this game feel like a meaningful role-playing experience, which I just did not get from some of those other games.
Yeah, and even playing New Vegas, like when I was a teenager, like a lot of the nuance was lost on me too. I'm like, oh yeah, the NCR are cops, they're good guys. And now playing it, I'm like, oh.
Something I said to Zach earlier was, I've always played as an NPR sympathizer and NPR character, and I have to admit, being a Canadian right now has made me really re-examine my New California Republic stance, where they are taking over the independent land of the Mojave. I was like, oh, I actually understand why the people of the Mojave do not want to become members of the NCR at all. So I guess growth.
The karma system in this game, like it really only has an effect on like the endings of like, I won't spoil anything at all, but like you see a slideshow of like decisions that you made with each faction, and it just changes a slideshow. That's all the karma does. But it's funny how they calculate the karma points like behind the scenes. Like I said, 1,000 karma is max, minus 1,000 is like negative max. And for example, stealing or killing like can be like plus 25 or plus 50 depending on who you kill, either in either direction, good or bad. But like cannibalizing a corpse, you only lose 1 karma point. So I'm like, you have to eat 1,000 people from neutral to be evil. I'm like, I don't know who made that call, but it does seem like one of the things, like, I do think that this game is very ambitious, but you can see where like the groundwork that Bethesda laid out like doesn't always jive with the decisions that like Josh Sawyer or whoever at Obsidian wanted to make. And you can kind of see where like a few loose ends are left hanging. You know what I mean? Just because like, oh, like it feels like there should be a quest here, but there's like nothing, or there's like an NPC with like a name, but they don't really have much to say. It's like I really wish, rather than what they did with Oblivion and just like reskin it with Unreal Engine 5, this game I think does need like a proper remake from the ground up, whether that's from the fan community or ideally from like a bigger company eventually. But yeah, I do think they could like really polish this and make it into like an all-time great, keep it maintained.
It's going to be interesting to see how the remastering situation unfolds over the next few years, because clearly, with the success of Oblivion, this is a bus full of money that Bethesda is going to want to keep backing up again and again. So we're definitely going to get Fallout 3, but the question is, are there rights issues involving Fallout New Vegas? Like, or I'm assuming that maybe they just own it wholesale and they can just remaster it whenever they want and do anything they want with it. But also, it's kind of Obsidian's too, and kind of cutting them out of the process, I don't think would get them very good publicity.
I think like now Microsoft, like they own both of them, so they could probably expedite the thing and like, they could get it out, I feel like, but they've got the money.
I'm a little surprised Microsoft hasn't been forced Obsidian to actually make a new one by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, given the reputation of this game, that would make sense.
Well, that's what everyone wants. It's everyone. I imagine that Todd Howard has a massive inferiority complex about this game, because I actually think Todd Howard is a great video game director, and I think that Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 are really great games. But like, everyone is like, yeah, but New Vegas.
Out of curiosity, because we're running a little long here. Like, were there any quests that you guys did where like you thought your decisions were really interesting, or like I don't know, like you just thought that like you did something different this time, or for the first time, like you thought that was great? Was there any quests that you wanted to shout out in like sort of the opening hours of this game?
I like the Red Rock Canyon quest where you have to try to convince the Papa to
Papacan?
Papacan, yeah, to go against the Legion if you do that. Like if you don't want them siding with the Legion for later stuff. And I just thought that quest line was really interesting, that you had to go to all the different people and try to convince them separately by doing other things.
Oh, I haven't even gotten to Red Rock Canyon, and I'm excited for that now.
I went and found, like, I did it a little bit. I hit the strip and then I kind of paused because I don't want to get too far ahead of the episodes. But I went and found just by chance the Brotherhood of Steel, who like I don't really remember very strongly from my previous playthroughs, but like they're really tucked away. Did anybody else find the Brotherhood of Steel?
I think I know where their vault is, but I don't think I've been there yet.
Yeah, I think I uncovered it and I haven't yet opened it yet. I just got a message from them for one of Eddie's companion quests, I think. So I think that's where I have to go back to them.
I guess like I was pretty latched onto the main quest, but I am trying to explore the corners. But like I did all the boomer quests. Is that what they're called? The boomers in the top right?
The boomers, yeah.
Yeah, and
I haven't even met the boomers yet. I'm excited
about
this.
Either.
They are so endearing. I think they might be like, if I were to live in any of the factions in the world, I would want to live with the boomers. Yeah, they're really sweet.
For me, I think one of the best quests in the entire game is Hard Luck Blues. Has anyone played it yet? It's you get it from, I can't remember the character's name. You get it from the person who's in charge of the sharecroppers farm.
Not yet.
Just in Freeside?
Yeah, I didn't realize there was... I've been to the farm, but I didn't get a quest there, so that's good to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I'm not going to ruin it for you because it's an amazing quest, but the end choice in this quest is one that does not actually follow a good karma, bad karma paradigm. There is no way to get to solve this quest where you do not walk away feeling as if you've done the right thing or you've done the wrong thing. It's this incredibly morally complex question by the end of it. It's an amazing quest. And I've done it both ways. And both ways, I'm like, I don't know if I made the right choice.
It happens like after Ring a Ding Ding. So we'll talk about it more next episode. But like, I just wanted to probe Aleks in particular, because we're kind of kindred spirits in many ways. Aleks, is your favorite quest in the game the same as my favorite quest, Beyond the Beef, the White Glove Society one?
Yes, it is. That's
oh my! I knew it. We are like brothers
God.
from another mother. I love that quest. It is so like amazing. Yeah, it's
so good.
Yeah, that's my favorite in the whole game. But it's a little preview for Audra and Zach.
It is also so buggy.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I got bugged out on it, which was a shame, but it's still so good.
I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, this is not a spoiler, but before you go back out to the casino floor, make sure you make a hard save, because there is a quest breaking bug if you go out on the casino floor at the very end of the quest, and it triggers randomly. It doesn't really matter. So if you make a hard save and it triggers, just go back, just reload and go back out again.
I mean, quests bug in this game so often that like I've learned to just make saves every time I'm about to do anything.
Yeah,
I think I've had like 15 quest bugs like over and over and over again. Like if I die, like the quest bugs every time. So I had like I did a quest for Cass, and then like I had left her outside because I'm like, you can't come in here because I know you're not going to be smart about this. And so I sneak around, I go get the paperwork that she wants, then I come back out and she's just gone. The map tells me she's there, but she's not there. So yeah.
In that case, I have gotten to be, I guess, borderline programmer level good with the with console commands. Console commands are a lifesaver in this game in so many ways, and not in cheating ways. Like, yeah, you can totally cheat and give yourself infinite amounts of whatever item you have, but you can also do things like move player to Cass, and it'll just load you next to Cass, or it'll bring Cass directly to you. Or if you get stuck inside something, or like fall through the mesh and get stuck between two rocks, you can bring up the console, hit TCL, and then it'll trigger no clip mode, and you can just get out of it. So there are console commands that can help with the bugginess of the game, that aren't cheats.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, I haven't touched any of the console command stuff yet, but that's useful. I'm not sure how Audra will have to pull up her keyboard on the Steam Deck for that, but
yeah, it's the tilde key, I think, brings it up.
Yeah,
I think so from what I've seen. But yeah, I know there's so many other quests and things to talk about, and if there are other ones that we want to talk about next time, that's great. Like, I don't know, like just that all the different ways you can complete quests. I think this game is really like working on a very particular level in terms of choice. And I'm not trying to drag Mass Effect right now, but like comparing the two, because I'm playing them around the same time and they were released around the same time, right? Where like in Mass Effect, it's basically like if you want to do like a good run, just like go pure Paragon, pure Renegade, and you're good. Whereas here, like it's all over the shop, and it's a lot more interesting on that front to me.
Like on that, like most games you get locked into, it's like you have to keep making good decisions and keep making bad decisions. But in this game, like you can turn on a dime and it's like, you know what, I don't like you anymore, Legion, or I don't like you anymore, Cons. I'm just gonna wipe you out now. Like that's the real freedom, I think, of this game. You can be good and bad anytime.
Yeah, you can.
There's so many possibilities to approach things.
This game feels adult in a way that a lot of other games don't. Like, it really doesn't shy away from
Fisto.
Very morally complex and frankly horrifying concepts such as slavery, rape, child slavery. Like, it doesn't shy away from it. It feels viscerally uncomfortable at times.
Oh yeah, I'm uncomfortable all the time. Like when I'm walking through the desert, like I'm just afraid I'm going to get shot from any direction, and it's frustrating. Like I was talking to Alana about this, and the closest analog I can think of is like the first time I played Ultima when I was like 5. And I know that seems ridiculous, but like you can see the DNA. And like when I was playing Ultima when I was 5, I was like, I always wanted to do like the most expeditious thing. Like I can steal from the shopkeeper. Maybe they won't figure it out. They always did, and then they freaking killed me. Like every moment of this game, to some degree, especially in the early going, feels dangerous. And like I don't know, like there are just so many different elements of that going on. Like every choice feels like it has weight, and I always feel like I could be making the wrong call, like down the line, even if I feel like I'm making the right call right now, because I don't have context. And like, how many games really deal with that? Like where you are making a call without context, but you know you could have other context, which is, I'm sure, what makes this game so replayable.
It does have like the flaw of if you do want to be like bad, like I'm not being like a psychopath bad besides eating the people that I kill, but like if you kill random people, you do lock yourself out of a lot of content. So I think like that's something that very few games have found a workaround, to avoid. But
Yeah, I don't think any game has really.
No.
That I'm aware of.
I accidentally locked myself out of a quest, I think, or quest resolution by Fitz. A character named Fitz got caught in between me and a Legionnaire assassin. And unfortunately, I was like, oh, darn.
I like the way you describe it, Zach, as being like the danger of it, because I think that is like, I do get more of a thrill playing this than I do playing Elder Scrolls, for example, just because like I feel like weak in this world to some degree. Like it's less of a power fantasy, and like you have to play.
Oh, for sure. Like I feel like I am underpowered all the time.
Yeah,
especially in the early going.
And I like keeping the difficulty as it is because yeah, it does like demand that you engage with the RPG mechanics more than like, you know, other Bethesda games, for example. But also like we haven't really talked about it, but like the vibe of the game, like the Western vibe of it, I think was such a smart call. Like it has so much more personality than Fallout 3, and like it still has like the really charming like retro futurism that was that kind of like irony that was popular at the time. Like BioShock and Fallout 3 kind of had this, and Mad Men was airing on TV at the time, you know. So there was this kind of like nostalgic post-war boom. But that combined with the Western elements and like the Western music on the radio, like the vibe is immaculate.
Oh, for sure. Apparently, the composer was like inspired by "There Will Be Blood," which I think is phenomenal. I was like, oh, I can hear that now. And the radio stations are way less interesting than just hearing like the ambiance of the noise. I agree with that.
True, but you do eventually get sick of listening to Johnny Guitar.
That stands out so much. I'm like, this again?
Yeah, I'm doing a fully modded playthrough of this with a lot of fan created content. But one of the best mods that I downloaded, it's a custom radio station, and it's actually not difficult to do. And then I created it, and then I took every single track of every single album of Postmodern Jukebox, and I dumped it into my custom radio station. And it is shockingly lore friendly, because the whole concept of Postmodern Jukebox is like the songs of today, but done in a style of like the 1940s, 50s. And because of that, it flawlessly works with the aesthetic and the general feel of Fallout. Plus, it's like 300, 400 songs, so it's not constantly playing the same one over and over and over again. It actually feels like a real radio station.
I just want to listen to Black Mountain Radio the whole time, personally.
Tabitha, yeah. Just fire Mr. New Vegas. Give Tabitha the reins.
Do you all have a favorite track or like, you know, licensed track from the thing? Because I mean, Big Iron is a great one, of course, but I love Heartache by the Numbers. Every time that comes on, I'm like, all right.
I'm partial to Blue Moon.
I like Heartache by the Numbers too. It's probably one of the best songs in the game.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I also just like not having the radio on at all. Just listening to the sound like design, I think is really cool too.
Is the composer of this one Enon Zur again? Because he did Fallout 3. Anyone?
Enon Zur, yep.
Oh wow,
there you go.
He was all over Western. Like I do think that he left a mark on like Western RPGs at the time, because he also did like the Dragon Age. Dragon Age 1 and 2, I suppose, but yeah, he was like the Hans Zimmer of video games for a while there.
The name even has some kind of similarities to
it
Hans
does,
Zimmer.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it the same person? Very suspicious.
Hans, take that wig off, Hans.
Okay, well, I think if we're talking about Hans Zimmer, it probably means it's about time for us to close out the episode. I haven't done like a true Solosi ending to an episode since I took over. That's my first one, so good job, me.
That was a nice one. I like that. Before we go, could I make a recommendation? Can I make a recommendation to everyone who has not played the game before?
Yeah, do it.
I realize that obviously this needs to be focused on the main game, and we're not talking about the DLC. That being said, I think that if you are above level 15, I think the cutoff is, you should play
Blues.
Yeah, play Old World Blues. It's the best part of New Vegas.
Yeah,
not even close. It's the best
I got
part
a notification for it, and I was like, I think this is DLC, and I'm gonna wait, but I'm gonna do all the DLC. Like I'm invested enough in this game. Like for the record, listeners, like I just started this game like 3 days ago because I was reviewing Elden Ring Night Rain, and I was like, didn't have any time, and I still like dropped like 20 hours on this game in like 3 days. So here we are.
The DLC in this is pretty damn good. Dead Money is really solid. Honest Hearts is a really interesting like expansion of the world of Fallout. Old World Blues is just one of the best things that Fallout has ever done, and Lonesome Road is the worst thing that Fallout has ever done. And I'm including 76 in that.
Oh.
I guess I'll avoid that then.
Yeah.
I hate Lonesome Road. I hate it so much. It's so bad.
Oh,
are we talking about Benny on this episode, or are we saving that for next time?
Next one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I haven't met Benny yet, so.
Well, technically you did. He shot you in the head.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
That guy.
You know, Matthew Perry.
I haven't met Matthew Perry yet.
That's my headcanon. It's not Benny. It's just Matthew Perry.
Can I shoot you in the head anymore?
So if we're talking about Matthew Perry, then it's definitely, well, I say it's time to end the episode, but I know Matthew Perry shows up anyway. Thank the four of you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing your very different experiences with this game, both in terms of history and also in terms of playthrough. I am really genuinely very excited. Like, I will admit, like, the first 10 hours I was like, I have died 1,000 times, and that's only vaguely an exaggeration, and I was pissed. But as I got into a rhythm, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This game rules. And so I'm really excited to play through the second half where the game continues to rule. And so let's talk about what's coming up next, which in 2 weeks we will, again, as I just mentioned, we'll be talking about the second half of Fallout New Vegas. After that, we're going to have an episode, a Deus Ex retrospective, which will be hosted by Jono. So thank you for stepping in for me there.
Yeah, we're doing kind of the same thing we did last year with Fallout. We're doing retro reviews of all four of the games.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it, even though I don't have any experience with Deus Ex. It's always been like a series that I'm interested in. And then after that, we are going to have a game journal on Breath of Fire 2. So 2 episodes on Breath of Fire 2. It was voted on by the listeners many months ago as the game that Zach, quote unquote, has to play in 2025, even though Zach picked the game. So it worked out for me. I'm curious to play that game again. My memories are very positive, but then every time I've tried to play it again in the last 5 years, I'm like, oh my gosh, this encounter rate makes me want to die. So we'll see how it goes. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us retro@rpgfan.com. You can also follow RPG Fan on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Blue Sky, Twitch, YouTube. We're usually RPG Fan or RPG Fan.com in most of those places. You can also join our Discord, which is just RPG Fan. We also have a shop that is hosted. We actually have 2 shops, one hosted by TeePublic that has t-shirts, mugs. If you want to rep RPG Fan and also support RPG Fan, you can get some stuff there. The t-shirts are really high quality. I'm wearing one right now, and it's like very comfortable. We also have a shop hosted by Hyperplay RPG, which is our review card collection. So it's 300 pages of our review cards that you might have seen on Instagram, originally designed by Steph. It's beautiful. I love it. Even outside of the fact that my name's in a book, which is very exciting. I just love that book. We also have 2 other fine podcasts, one of which is hosted by one of the people on our panel. So one of them is Random Encounter. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's coming up on Random Encounter, Jono?
Holy crap, yeah. What's coming up on Random Encounter is not E3. Because we're moving into the first week of June, and it's not just Summer Game Fest. We were joking in the thing, we should call it G3 because it's Jeff. But it's not just.
I actually have a soft spot for Jeff, to be honest with you.
I don't mind Jeff at all. I think he is. I think he does. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have anything for the first week in June. But yeah, so we have not E3, but we also have the launch of the Switch 2 coming up. So the last few weeks we've been off, and I'm going to be doing 2 episodes in a row. First one focused on Switch 2 and the news that's coming out of Summer Game Fest. And then the week following that is going to be on whatever shadow drops during Summer Game Fest. Because usually some big things just get dropped randomly, and we're like, "Oh my god, it's a Final Fantasy VI remake," and then we have to play through it in a week. So yeah, that's what's coming up on Random. We don't know because nobody does yet.
Yeah, the Switch drops on the 6th, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because this episode will go up on the day before. So those of you who are listening the day after, congratulations on your Switch 2 if you have one. My wife works for a Nintendo website, so I will have one in hand. And the other podcast of our other podcasts is Rhythm Encounter, which is about RPG music. So usually Random Encounter is one Monday. The next Monday is Rhythm Encounter. That sometimes adjusts based on needs for both shows. But on Monday, you're usually going to hear Random Encounter or Rhythm Encounter. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you see a podcast, we're probably there. Please leave us feedback. We love especially 5 stars. And let's talk about where to find the individual panelists, starting with you, Aleks.
You can email me at alexfraniczek@gmail.com.
Okay, that was worse than my French accent. I just want you to know that. Matt, do better.
You're darn tootin'. You can read my review of I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream on RPG Fan. Just dropped the other day.
Excellent. And Audra, how can people get in touch with you?
Y'all can give me a holler on email, audrab@rpgfan.com. And I'm sorry.
And Jono.
All right, you cats. If you want to find me, you can find me at jlogan@rpgfan.com. You listen to Random Encounter, or you can also find me on Blue Sky at johnlogan@bluesky.social.
And I'm not doing any of that. If you want to get in touch with me,
you have to now.
Come on.
No, I'm not doing it. No,
do a king.
Okay,
King
I'm the yes man. So if you want to get, I'm
clearly you're
okay?
not.
The no man.
I am the no man. There we go. If you want to email me, you can obviously get in touch with me at theretro@rpgfan.com. You can also email me zachw@rpgfan.com. I'm also on our Discord. And so thank you so much, the 4 of you, for outclassing me on the outro, for example, but also for coming in and talking about this game. I'm having a great time with it. I'm really enjoying it. The more and more I play, the more and more I like it, which is usually a good sign in my book. And also, thank you, listeners. Good night and good luck.